YouTube, how's it going? I'm back with another 7-round NFL mock draft. Today's is for the Dallas Cowboys. Decent amount of picks for the Cowboys so they can really build that defense up and fill those needs on offense. Also doing a fan-voted mock draft, link in the description. And we got plenty other team-by-team mock drafts, regular mock drafts, all kinds of fun stuff. So go ahead and check all that out if you haven't already. But let's get into the Cowboys mock. First round, I got him going DJ Moore, wide receiver, Maryland. Big-time riser, especially after the combine. This guy, you watch this guy's tape, he really does it all. He plays inside, outside. Maybe the Cowboys can trade back a little bit and still get him. I think he's a first-round talent wide receiver. So if I'm the GM, I'm taking a good look at DJ Moore. He can play. He's just what the Cowboys need. Pair him with Des Bryant. I mean, Moore just doesn't have to stick to slot or outside. He can just do both. But I think that's what the Cowboys are lacking recently. I think that's what they need. He's a very exciting player. Just get that offense where it needs to be. It can't, the way it sits, it can be elite. But let's make it elite for sure. Let's get as many playmakers as we can on the offense side of the ball. Even though there's more needs on defense, I think they can go offense early and then use most of the draft on defense. So I like DJ Moore fitting with the Dallas Cowboys. Could be very exciting offense. It's going to be hard to stop with a guy like that in there with their current weapons. Second round, I got him going Harrison Phillips, D-tackle, Stanford. Obviously, the Cowboys need a D-tackle. And this is a guy that could sneak in late first round, but most likely could go somewhere in the second. So hopefully he falls to Dallas for them. That's exactly what they need. They may need multiple defense tackles. They need quite a bit of defensive help, but they do have some young talent there that can really step up this year as well. On to their next pick, third round, Fred Warner, linebacker, BYU. Another sleeper linebacker, great combine, should go in the third round range. I think he can play outside with Jalen Smith and then Sean Lee. And again, those are two guys that could get hurt, so you may need some other guys anyways that can play multiple linebacker positions. So I like Fred Warner. Seems like he's been getting a lot of buzz around the league lately. So I think third round's his range, though. Cowboys could use him. Fourth round, TARVARUS McFadden, corner from Florida State. They need another corner, even though Byron Jones may be moving to corner. They need a legit outside corner. They got quite a few guys that can play in the slot. I think McFadden being a pretty long corner and can be physical at times. 2 years ago, led the nation in interceptions. Looked like a top 20 pick, but on a decline after this season. Not a bad season at all. Combine wasn't too impressive, so he did drop from maybe a late round 2 guy for me to around this range. I still like his upside, though. Cowboys are lacking that length at corner, but if Byron Jones was a corner, then he has some length, some size on him for a corner, so that'll be good. I think they'll like McFadden the fourth, maybe too good to pass, because he at one point he was considered a first rounder, so you know those guys have some upside even if they drop. Another fourth rounder, Marcus Allen, safety, Penn State. Another guy that maybe at one point was considered a late first, early second guy, but he drops. I think it's mainly because the other safety talent is pretty darn good, I think. We're starting to realize. I mean, his coverage skills really, they do need some work, so that could be the reason he's dropping. But he's good when the ball's in the air. He's not going to make a big-time interception and take it back. He's going to hit the guy to make sure he doesn't catch it. He's good at run support, coming up and hitting people. He's very exciting safety to watch, so he could go in that 3-4 range rounds wise. So I think they would love to have a guy like this back there at safety, him with Woods back there. Just they're two different guys, and that's what you need at safety. So I like Marcus Allen to the Cowboys. I think he'd be a good fit, what they need. In the fifth round, Ian Thomas, tight end from Indiana. I think he's a Cowboys tight end. I think he's a good weapon downfield. I think that's exactly what they need. Jason Witten obviously getting older. And they need another guy. Even with Witten, they need another guy, maybe a little threat downfield for a tight end. And that's what Ian Thomas is. I like him fitting in on that offense nicely. So fifth round, maybe he goes as early as 4, but it's kind of hard to tell where these other tight ends are going to come off. You got Goddard can come off the board in 1 or 2. Hurst, where is he going to come off? He's got a big range. So obviously Thomas isn't as good as those guys, but if those guys drop a little bit, the top tight ends drop a little bit, then it's going to push these guys back. But a lot of teams draft basically on fit. Their draft boards will be a lot smaller than you would think. They only find guys that they know will fit And only some teams do this. Some teams look for guys that they can work with, and they truly believe they can develop in more of their style. But Thomas is a fit, so I know they'll like him. It's just where. But I think around round 5 would make sense to me. Another round 5, Colby, GOSSETT, offensive lineman, Appalachian State. Kind of a sleeper guy, but been getting a lot of buzz lately. I expect him to go that 4 or 5 range as well. I think he can play guard for them or tackle, so that's why, you know, these offensive linemen are pretty impressive here in the mid to late rounds. They seem to work out, especially those guys that can do multiple things. So he's a sleeper just because he's from Appalachian State, but he can play. Cowboys, maybe not their biggest need. They could use a guy to plug in at guard pretty early, so that's why I like him here. 6th round, Justin Jones, D lineman, NC State. I think this guy will play D tackle for the Cowboys. That whole NC State front four is going to get drafted. Pretty impressive. Bradley Chubb is going to be the first one off the board. BJ Hill is going to be the next one. And I think Justin Jones is right there next. In this range, could go rounds 5 or 6. So at this point, it's depth, but it's a guy with a lot of upside. He can play early on in his career, and they need some D tackle help, pretty obviously. Another 6th rounder, JALEEL Scott, wide receiver in New Mexico State. Long, physical receiver. Throw the ball up to him in the red zone, goal line fade. He go up and make a play. He's got good hands too, so they could obviously. I had him getting DJ Moore earlier, maybe a more shifty guy that can play inside and out. So let's get a guy for depth, but that also can play early in his career. That is for sure outside, a little bit opposite of DJ Moore. So that's why I went with JALEEL Scott here. I think they'll like him if he's around in round 6. And on to the last pick. A game now is Morgan, linebacker, Notre Dame. Not getting talked about enough. I think he had a pretty good career at Notre Dame. Yeah, he played with Jalen Smith, so that makes some sense there. I think he'll be an inside linebacker, so obviously round 7, it's some depth. I think it's a guy that is a smart player. He has some experience at the position, and he's a true middle linebacker. So you need depth there in case of injuries, and it'll be fun to get him back with Jalen Smith. So that's your Cowboys mock. They got a good amount of picks. If they do this right, they can easily get back to where they were just 2 years ago. So we'll see. We got free agency in the draft for them to figure it out. I think they'll do so. But that'll do it for this one. Check out our other videos. We got plenty other and more to come. Please like, subscribe, and goodbye.